Prologue. Princess Elara had never seen a live dragon. She'd seen parts of one. A massive skull mounted in the Great Hall, scales embedded in ceremonial armor. Her entire life had been spent training to fight the kingdom's most feared enemy. Yet nothing had prepared her for the reality of the creature now soaring toward the palace, its massive wings casting a shadow across the western courtyard. Time seemed to slow. The dragon's scales caught the light like shards of ice, pale blue against the afternoon sky. It was beautiful. The thought startled her. Beautiful was not how the royal tutors described dragons: monstrous, savage, demonic. But as it banked through the air with impossible grace, Elara couldn't help the flutter of wonder in her chest. Elara! Strong hands gripped her shoulders, spinning her around. Darius's face was inches from hers, his blue eyes wide with urgency. Her fiancé's golden hair was disheveled, his breath coming fast. "We can't stay here. We need to move now." His voice was tight, controlled in a way she'd never heard before. Behind them, the first screams erupted from the courtyard below. Guards shouted orders, metal scraped against scabbards. "I've never seen a dragon," Elara began, but Darius was already pulling her toward the door. "And I'd prefer to keep it that way," he said, his grip firm on her wrist. Around them, chaos bloomed. Servants ran in all directions. Royal guards formed defensive lines. Courtiers in silken finery scrambled for shelter. The palace shook with a tremendous roar, sending fine dust cascading from the ceiling. Elara stumbled, but Darius caught her elbow. "You don't think it's going to attack, do you?" she asked, steadying herself against a wall. "The guards are well trained for moments like these," Darius replied, squeezing her hand. "Do not be afraid. How can I be when I'm with you?" Elara found herself smiling despite the situation. "My father's greatest dragon slayer." A shadow passed over Darius's face, there and gone in an instant. Had she imagined it? They had met just 6 months ago when Darius returned from the borderlands bearing dragon scales as proof of his victory. King Aldrich had been so impressed, he'd granted the commoner-turned-hero his youngest daughter's hand in marriage. Their wedding was mere weeks away. "Where are we going?" Elara asked, as they descended a spiral staircase she'd rarely used. "The catacombs," he replied. "There are hidden emergency exits that will take us out of the castle grounds." They reached a long hallway lined with portraits of her ancestors, stern-faced kings and queens who had built Eldorain's legacy. As they passed the entrance to the royal treasury, Elara pulled her hand free. "Wait!" She darted into the chamber before Darius could stop her. "Elara, we don't have time for this." His voice was sharp with frustration. The treasury was empty of guards, all called to defend against the dragon, no doubt. Elara hurried to a pedestal in the center where her father's crown rested on a velvet cushion. The Sun Crown, they called it, though it was as black as midnight. A circlet of obsidian crystal said to contain magic from the kingdom's earliest days. "Beautiful, isn't it?" she said as Darius appeared at her side. "Father says this crown is the kingdom's strength, not just a symbol of human victory against dragons. It supposedly has actual magical properties." She turned to find Darius staring at the crown with an odd expression. His face had gone pale, his jaw tight. "Has any mage worked out how to access the supposed magic?" he asked, his voice strained. Elara shook her head carefully, lifting the crown. "No, it's more legend than anything else at this point." Catching Darius's stunned gaze, she felt her cheeks warm. "I can see why it would seem silly for me to come get it, but we're being attacked by dragons. Every bit of potential magic helps, right?" Before he could answer, the entire palace seemed to heave. The floor bucked beneath them, throwing them both to the ground. The crown flew from Elara's hands, clattering across the marble floor. Darius rolled to his feet with inhuman speed, helping her up. "Are you hurt?" "Just startled," Elara said, retrieving the crown. Was it her imagination, or did it feel warmer than before? Another tremor shook the walls. Darius pulled her toward a heavy wooden door she'd never noticed before, concealed behind a tapestry. It opened to reveal a narrow staircase descending into darkness. "The catacombs," he explained, grabbing a torch from a wall sconce. As they descended, Elara's thoughts turned to her family. "Wait, my father, my brothers. The king made it clear what my priorities are," Darius cut her off. "I protect you. That's my duty." Elara wanted to argue, but found herself following him into the gloom. The stone steps gave way to a tunnel, ancient and smelling of earth and forgotten things. The catacombs stretched endlessly before them, their footsteps echoing against stone walls that had stood for centuries. Elara's mind raced with images of what might be happening above. Her father would be coordinating the defense, sword in hand despite his gray beard. Her oldest brother, Garrick, would be with the royal guard, while young Tomas would be fretting that he wasn't allowed to fight yet. "Do you think they'll be safe?" she asked, her voice small in the vast darkness. Darius glanced back, his face half illuminated by the torch. "Your father survived the border wars. He knows how to handle himself. And my brothers. The castle has withstood worse." He squeezed her hand. "Try not to worry." But worry she did. Each step taking her further from her family felt like a betrayal, yet she was grateful for Darius's steady presence. She studied the back of his head as they walked, the way his golden hair caught the torchlight. Darius had a quiet strength about him, a confidence that never tipped into arrogance. When he laughed, rare but worth the wait, his entire face transformed. In 3 weeks, they would be married in the Great Temple. She'd already tried on her wedding dress twice, a confection of ivory silk and seed pearls. "I can't believe this is happening," she said, her voice echoing slightly in the tunnel. "The dragons haven't attacked human territories in decades. They haven't been seen near the capital for hundreds of years. How is this possible?" Darius walked ahead, the torch casting his shadow long against the wall. "No idea, something might have angered them." "Dragons are always angry," Elara replied. "That's not what I meant. We have wards protecting this kingdom, Darius. No dragon has managed to pierce them ever." "Until today," he said somberly. "Until today," she agreed. But the question remained how. They walked through the catacombs in silence. Elara tried not to picture the destruction that might be unfolding above. Gardens burned, towers toppled, people she'd known all her life lying injured or worse. Her hands tightened around the crown, and she realized with a start that it was warm to the touch, almost as though it had been sitting near a hearth. The warmth spread from her palms up her arms, seeping gently into her chest. With it came an unexpected calm, quieting the storm of her thoughts. Her racing heart slowed. The tightness in her shoulders eased. This feeling, it wasn't just warmth, but a sense of presence, as though she wasn't alone. Even if Darius walked 3 paces ahead, she found herself breathing more easily, drawing comfort from the sensation. It felt right somehow, like finding something she hadn't realized was missing. The weight of the crown in her hands became a tether, grounding her amid the chaos of the day. "Do you think it's burned at all?" she asked after what felt like hours, the warmth giving her the courage to voice her deepest fear. "Doubtful," Darius said without turning. "It was an ice dragon." Elara frowned. "An ice dragon. How do you know?" "Its scales, for one," he replied. "Its size, too, it was small." Small? It had seemed enormous to her. Light appeared ahead, an exit from the endless tunnel. Elara quickened her pace, eager to be above ground again, but Darius's curse made her pause. 2 horses lay dead near the exit, crushed beneath a fallen tree. "No," Darius hissed, kneeling beside the animals. "What were these horses doing here?" Elara asked, suspicion blooming. "There are always some waiting just in case," he said, but the explanation felt hollow. "We can't waste any more time. We need to go on foot." Darius turned to her, then froze. "What's happening?" Elara followed his gaze to the crown in her hands. It was glowing now, a soft amber light pulsing from within. At its center, a jewel she'd never noticed before, always as dark as the rest of the crown, now shone with a brilliant reddish gold light. The warmth had intensified, flowing through her like honey, sweet and comforting despite the strangeness of it all. "It's not supposed to be doing that," Darius said, stepping closer. He reached for the crown. "Give it to me, Elara." As his fingers approached, Elara recoiled. "No." She clutched the crown to her chest, stepping back. Every instinct rebelled against surrendering the crown, as though doing so would tear away something that had become part of her. "Elara, please," Darius said, his expression tense. "It could be dangerous." The crown's heat increased, but it didn't burn. It fortified, like drinking mulled wine on a winter night. Why was she so reluctant to give this crown away? Voices echoed from the forest nearby, interrupting her thoughts. People were approaching. "We have to go," Darius urged. "Go, why?" Elara asked. "A search party is coming our way, or it could be bandits," her fiancé countered. "The castle was just attacked, Elara. It's not safe." The voices drew closer. Darius's expression grew desperate. "Please come with me." He extended his hand. "We need to leave now." "Where to?" she demanded. "And what for?" "We're out of immediate danger. I'd like to figure out how to best help my people." "I want to help my people too," Darius interrupted, his blue eyes locked with hers, pleading. "Do you trust me?" Elara frowned, opened her mouth, hesitated. The ground shook as another dragon passed overhead, different from the first, darker in color. Darius glanced up, then back at Elara with naked fear in his eyes. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I never meant for it to go this far." Before she could ask what he meant, Darius doubled over as if in pain. Elara reached for him, then stopped mid-motion as his body began to change. It started with his eyes. Those blue eyes she'd gazed into countless times, planned a future with the pupils narrowed to vertical slits, the irises darkening to midnight. His face contorted in what looked like agony, bones shifting audibly beneath his skin. "Darius?" Elara's voice was barely a whisper. "What's happening?" He couldn't answer, his jaw elongated, teeth sharpening to gleaming points. His skin rippled and hardened, human flesh giving way to scales, and his hands, those gentle hands that had held hers through palace gardens, twisted and stretched into massive claws. Elara stood transfixed, unable to move, unable even to scream. This couldn't be real. It defied everything she'd been taught, everything she believed about the world. The transformation accelerated. Darius, if he could still be called that, grew to 3 times his human size, his form elongating, a tail whipping out behind him. Great wings unfurled from his back, stretching wide enough to blot out the sky. Where her fiancé had stood moments before, a massive dragon now crouched, its scales the color of a midnight sea. For one breathless moment, their eyes met. In those draconic eyes, Elara saw something hauntingly familiar, a flicker of the man she thought she knew. But dragons were monsters from the wild edges of the map. They weren't men who recited poetry and kissed her beneath the wisteria arbor. So when the creature reached toward her with one clawed foreleg, a gesture almost like pleading, the spell broke. Terror flooded through her, overriding the crown's warmth, and Elara stumbled backward, a scream finally tearing from her throat. The dragon Darius flinched at the sound. She didn't wait for another reaction. She ran. Back into the catacombs she fled, heart hammering, legs trembling. The crown still clutched against her chest, her breath came in gasps, her mind unable to process what she'd witnessed. Everything she had been taught crumbled like sand. Dragons could take human form. Her fiancé was a dragon. Nothing would ever be the same again. When minutes passed and nothing pursued her, Elara crawled back to the entrance, peering cautiously outside. The clearing was empty. Both dragons, the ice dragon from before and the one that had been Darius, had vanished into the sky. She sank to the ground, the crown's warmth now the only steady thing in a world turned upside down. Chapter 1, and that's when we found the horses crushed by the fallen tree, Princess Elara concluded, gesturing with her hands. Her voice echoed against the high ceiling of the council chamber. "If they hadn't been there, we might have." "Yes, yes," Lord Valen interrupted, drumming his fingers impatiently on the polished oak table. "We understand the sequence, Princess. What we need now are actionable measures." Elara straightened her spine, surveying the faces around her father's council table. She had told them almost everything, the escape through the catacombs, the emergency exit, even her confusion about the prearranged horses. Almost everything except the one crucial detail she had been holding back. Her gaze drifted to her father. King Aldrich sat tall at the head of the table, the sun crown gleaming black upon his brow. 3 days had passed since the dragon attack, and every time she looked at that crown, a strange unease crept through her. It sat there inert and cold, showing none of the amber glow it had revealed when she held it. "It doesn't belong there," whispered a thought so sudden and unbidden that Elara nearly gasped aloud. "I understand you'd like us to send a search party, daughter," her father said, his tone regretful. "But after the first dragon attack in decades, we cannot spare the resources." "It didn't exactly attack though, did it?" Elara interrupted. "There were no casualties, no real damage except to the eastern spire." "Nevertheless," Lord Valen cut in, "dragons have breached our wards. War could be close. We must prepare our defenses, not scatter our forces on a rescue mission." Elara clenched her fists. All the more reason to look for our best dragon slayer. She met her father's eyes imploringly. When he only winced, she turned to her brother, Prince Garrick, who stood at their father's right hand. Garrick's expression was tight with frustration. At 25, 7 years her senior, he had always been the practical one, the soldier, the heir who saw every problem as a military equation. "What?" Elara demanded when she caught his look. He sighed. "Look, Elara, there's very little chance Darius is still alive." Elara froze. "What? You said the dragon arrived, you fled back into the catacombs, and when you came out, Darius was gone," Garrick replied, his tone gentler but still matter-of-fact. "If the dragon took him, he must be long dead by now." "Son," King Aldrich cautioned quietly. Garrick shook his head. "I'm sorry, but we've wasted enough time on this. Everyone knows Darius isn't coming back." He turned to Elara, genuine sympathy in his eyes. "And while that is terrible news, and I am so sorry, Elara, we have a crisis to manage." Elara's gaze darted once more to the crown on her father's head. Its dark surface seemed to absorb the light rather than reflect it. Why didn't anyone else notice how wrong it looked there? "Darius is alive." The words left her lips with absolute certainty. Of course, they all thought him dead. She had left out the most important part of her story, afraid they might refuse to pursue a dragon. But now, with them leaping to such terrible conclusions, the truth had to be better. Garrick sighed again. "Elara, think about it. There's very little chance." "The dragon didn't take him," Elara interrupted, her voice steady. "Because he is the dragon, that's how he disappeared. He transformed into one. I watched it with my own eyes." A heavy silence fell over the chamber. The counselors exchanged uneasy glances. Elara smiled, relieved to finally share the revelation. Now they would understand why finding Darius mattered so much. "Excuse me," Garrick asked, his voice dangerously quiet. Elara took a deep breath. "Darius, he is a dragon. I saw him transform right in front of me." The silence deepened. Elara's smile faltered as she saw the incredulous looks being exchanged around the table. "I understand your shock," she continued quickly. "Believe me, I could hardly believe it either. But it explains so much, why the dragons breached our wards now, why Darius knew so much about them." She paused, remembering his final words. "I don't think we're in danger. He asked me to trust him. Maybe this is our chance to speak with dragons, to understand what they want, perhaps even make peace." She looked directly at her father. "I'd like to go after Darius, not just to retrieve an ally, but because I truly believe this is our best chance to prepare for what's coming. By speaking with one of them who already knows us, who?" She stopped just short of saying who was to be my husband. There was a pause. Elara waited, hope fluttering in her chest. For a moment her father's eyes widened, and she thought she had finally reached him. Then Lord Valen snorted. A chuckle escaped Lady Serene. Within seconds, the entire council chamber erupted in laughter. Elara stared in bewilderment. "Oh, that's rich," wheezed Lord Halford, slapping the table. "Dragons taking human form. What will she come up with next?" "A creative embellishment, Princess," Lady Serene said, wiping her eyes. "Perhaps you should turn your talents to writing epic poetry." Elara felt her face growing hot. "I'm not joking," she protested. "It's true, I saw it happen." "Dragons are beasts," Garrick said firmly. "Powerful, dangerous beasts, but beasts nonetheless. They don't reason, they don't transform. And they certainly don't infiltrate royal courts." "But I saw," Elara began. "You saw a man flee in one direction while a dragon appeared from another," her father said gently amid the rising noise. "Your mind simply connected them in the chaos and fear of the moment." "No," Elara's voice rose. "I know what I saw. He changed right in front of me." "She's becoming hysterical," Lord Valen muttered. "Why won't any of you listen to me?" Elara continued, frustration mounting. Her gaze caught on the crown again, its dark surface seeming to mock her. She jabbed a finger toward it. "And that crown, it glowed when I held it. It was warm, with amber light shining from within. Why is no one talking about that?" Her father's hand moved protectively to the crown. "Elara, enough. No, take it off. Let me show you." She stepped toward him, the strange possessiveness she had felt in the catacombs surging back. "Look at her," Garrick said to their father, gesturing at Elara's flushed face and trembling hands. "She's exhausted, traumatized. She's just lost the man she was to marry. Of course, she's invented a story where he's still alive, and now she's fixating on the crown." The king hesitated, studying Elara with clear concern. For a moment, she saw doubt flicker in his eyes. "Father," she pleaded, "please just let me hold it again, you'll see." King Aldrich sighed heavily. "Elara, my dear, I think you should retire to your chambers and rest. This council has serious matters to discuss regarding our kingdom's defense." "Master Fenric," the king called. The court physician stepped forward from the shadows. "Would you please escort the princess to her quarters? Perhaps a sleeping draught." "I don't need a sleeping draught," Elara cried, backing away. "I need someone to believe me." Master Fenric took her arm gently but firmly. "Come, Your Highness, you've suffered a terrible shock. Your mind is simply trying to protect itself from the pain." "My mind is perfectly sound," Elara hissed, trying to pull free. How could they dismiss her so easily? She had never been treated as though her words meant nothing. "Dragon men," someone muttered, followed by barely concealed laughter. "Next she'll claim the stable boys are secretly griffins," whispered another. Humiliation washed over Elara in a scalding wave. She stopped struggling and allowed Master Fenric to lead her toward the door, her eyes fixed on the floor. She had always been the beautiful daughter, the clever princess whose observations were praised. She'd never imagined they would simply not believe her. Chapter 2. 2 days had passed since the council meeting, and Princess Elara had barely left her chambers. 2 days of whispers that stopped when she entered rooms, of servants who couldn't quite meet her eyes, of her father's concerned glances at mealtimes. 2 days of wondering if perhaps she truly had lost her mind. The castle had developed a new routine around her, speaking in hushed tones when she was near, offering sympathetic smiles that felt more like pity. The brave princess driven mad by grief. Poor thing, such a shame. Elara tossed another log onto the fire, sending sparks dancing up the chimney. Despite the already blazing heat, a persistent chill had settled deep in her bones that no amount of flames seemed to chase away. She had taken to keeping her chambers almost uncomfortably warm, yet still found herself shivering at odd moments. She huddled closer to the hearth, stretching her hands toward the flames. The fire danced before her eyes, and Elara found herself staring into it for hours, mesmerized by its constant movement. Sometimes, if she looked long enough, she could almost see shapes in the embers: wings, scales, eyes. "Did I imagine it?" she whispered to the empty room. "Am I truly mad?" She closed her eyes, forcing herself to replay the moment for the 100th time. Darius doubling over in pain. His skin rippling, hardening to scales, his face elongating, teeth sharpening to points. The way his body grew, expanded, changed. The dragon's eyes, his eyes, meeting hers one final time. It had been real. It had to have been real. Elara groaned, pressing the heels of her hands against her eyes. Even if she had somehow imagined the transformation, one fact remained. Darius was gone. Her Darius, the man she was meant to spend her life with. He was missing, and no one was looking for him. She rose abruptly, pacing the length of her chamber as another wave of coldness swept through her. If she could find him and bring him back, her father would be grateful. If she found him and proved he was a dragon, proved she wasn't delusional, her brother would have to apologize. And if she somehow managed to establish communication with dragons, father would be so grateful he'd have to give me his sun crown, she thought excitedly, then frowned. Why am I thinking about this crown? That's not important. She shook her head, trying to focus. What mattered was finding Darius, and if no one would help her, she would do it herself. Decision made, she moved with new purpose. She changed into riding clothes and packed lightly. A change of clothes, a water skin, dried food, coins, and her dagger. The castle was quiet as she slipped through shadowed corridors. The night guards were predictable. She had been sneaking out to the stables since she was 12. Tonight was no different, except that she had no intention of returning before dawn. The stables were dark, but Elara knew her way by touch and smell. Her mare, Briar, nickered softly as she approached. "We're going on an adventure, girl," she whispered, securing her pack behind the saddle. "Just you and me." "And me," came a small voice from the shadows. Elara jumped, her hand flying to her dagger. "Who's there?" Prince Tomas stepped into the dim light, arms crossed over his chest. At 12, he was all gangly limbs and curiosity. "What are you doing?" he asked, though his sly smile suggested he knew. "Going for a ride," Elara said casually. "Clear my head." "Why?" Tomas tilted his head. "Oh, one feels the need for fresh air when one's fiancé disappears and everyone assumes he's dead." "One might." Tomas's smile widened. But not you. You're going after him, aren't you? Elara sighed, caught. Yes, all right. I know no one believes me, Tom, but I know what I saw. I have to find him. I have to know the truth. What truth? Elara studied her brother's face. There was no mockery there, no disbelief, just simple curiosity. Fine, she said, leaning against Briar's flank. When Darius disappeared, he didn't just disappear. He changed into a dragon. She braced herself for laughter. Instead, Tomas's eyes widened to perfect circles. Dragons can turn into humans, he breathed, wonder filling his voice. Elara felt a lump form in her throat. I believe so, which is why I must find Darius. Because if they can, then everything we've believed about dragons until now has been wrong. Tomas nodded solemnly. You're right, you have to find him. Thank you, Elara whispered, relief washing through her. I'll come with you, Tomas announced. What? No, absolutely not. I know where we should go, he continued, ignoring her protest. The captain of the guard is always talking about this inn by the borders where mercenaries meet. That's where smugglers who can get you across hang out. Elara raised her chin. We don't need to be smuggled in. We're royals. We're going on a diplomatic mission. Tomas looked at her sympathetically. Who doesn't know you're coming? Probably won't be waiting for you by the borders and most definitely won't have told the dragons you're coming. Elara deflated, knowing he was right. Fine, I'll go to your inn, but you can't come with me. I'm going on a suicide mission. I can't bring my baby brother. Tomas just smiled patiently. You don't have a choice. Of course I do. I'm leaving. And the moment you're gone, I'll wake up Garrick and tell him exactly where you've gone. Elara stared at her brother in disbelief. You wouldn't. I would. His expression softened. But I'd rather come with you. Two are safer than one, and I know things. I listen to people. The guards never watch what they say around me. Elara weighed her options. She could try to leave before he could wake Garrick, but her brother was fast and knew all the shortcuts. This is madness, she muttered. Father would kill me if I put you in danger. Father thinks you've lost your mind, Tomas pointed out. I believe you. Isn't that worth something? It was worth everything. You'll do exactly as I say, Elara said sternly. No arguments, no wandering off, no heroics. Understood? Tomas nodded eagerly, already moving toward his own pony. I've already packed. I've been ready since I overheard Garrick talking about making you marry Lord Cashin's son. You've been planning this? I've been waiting for you to finally do something, he corrected, swinging up onto his pony. You're not the only one who can sneak out at night. Despite everything, Elara found herself smiling. Lead the way to this infamous inn, then. Tomas's laughter was soft in the darkness. Oh, Elara, we're not coming back until you find your dragon man. I left a note saying we've gone to visit Aunt Lyra in the southern province. That should buy us at least a week. Elara stared at her brother, reassessing him completely. The innocent boy had just revealed himself to be far craftier than she'd ever suspected. Who are you? She asked, half joking. Tomas grinned. I'm the boy who's going to help his sister find a dragon. He nudged his pony forward. Now come on, the inn's a half-day's ride if we hurry. As they slipped out of the castle grounds, Elara felt something she hadn't felt since the council chamber. Hope. With Tomas by her side, the crushing isolation of the past days lifted. The road stretched dark and unknown before them, leading to a world where dragons might walk as men, and everything she thought she knew could be wrong. She couldn't wait to discover it. Chapter 3, I still can't believe I brought you along, Princess Elara said, adjusting her cloak against the persistent chill she'd felt for days. The road stretched before them, winding through increasingly wild terrain as they approached the borderlands. Come on, Tomas grinned, seemingly immune to the gravity of their situation. Father and Garrick never let me do anything. For once, I get to go on an adventure. It's not an adventure. It's a dangerous and probably impossible quest, Elara sighed. As soon as we find somebody to smuggle me inside dragon territory, you're going home. Got it? Tomas smiled sweetly at her. Got it? Elara insisted. Absolutely. Tomas agreed with suspicious cheerfulness. And look, here's the inn just ahead. See? Elara followed his pointing finger to a ramshackle building ahead. Two men were brawling in the dirt outside while others cheered them on. A tattered sign swung from rusted chains. The painted image of a dragon with an arrow through its heart was nearly worn away. The fallen drake, she read aloud, looks just like the captain described it. Perfect, isn't it? Tomas declared, beaming. Elara grimaced as another shiver ran through her. Well, let's go in, it's chilly out here. It's not so bad, Tomas said, looking puzzled. It's nearly summer. Let's go, Elara said firmly, giving him a look that silenced further comment. They tethered their horses and pushed through the battered door. The stench hit Elara first, unwashed bodies, spilled ale, and something acrid she couldn't identify. The room fell into a watchful silence as heads turned toward the newcomers. These were mercenaries, smugglers, and worse, people who lived on the edges of society, who knew the secret paths between kingdoms. Exactly the sort of people they needed. What now? Elara whispered to her brother. Tomas squared his small shoulders. Just follow my lead. Before she could stop him, he marched confidently to the bar where a large man with a scar bisecting his left eye was wiping tankards. Good kind, sir, Tomas began, his voice carrying in the now quiet room. Would you be so kind as to point us towards someone who might take us across the dragon borders? Elara closed her eyes briefly. Really? Straight up asking? Well, the barman interrupted, there's plenty of people who could take you. Now, whether they'd want to, that's another story. We can pay, Elara said, stepping forward. Sure, the barman nodded. But paying don't keep you alive. People usually team up with someone that has the skills to survive out there. It's brutal beyond the borders. His eyes ran over them. And you too. Well, I ain't too sure what skills you two have, but it's not looking very promising. For the next hour, Elara and Tomas approached table after table, offering increasing sums of gold. Some laughed outright, others began negotiating only to back out when they learned the destination. Eventually, they found themselves back at the bar, Elara's frustration mounting. Told you, the barman said. No one's going to want to risk their lives by dragging dead weight into a danger zone. Elara leaned forward, lowering her voice. Look, I hate to do this, but this is for the sake of the kingdom. She glanced around. We are royals, and this mission could change the course of history. Yeah, look, honey, the barman interrupted. No one's going to care. You'd need someone who's both money-obsessed and has absolutely no sense of self-preservation whatsoever. Just then, the door swung open. A tall figure in a hooded cloak entered, silencing the room momentarily before conversation resumed. As the newcomer approached the bar and pushed back his hood, Elara's words died in her throat. He was striking, not handsome in the courtly way she was accustomed to, but compelling in a way that made it difficult to look away. His hair was dark, almost black, with a streak of deep auburn that caught the light like burnished copper. His face was all angles, sharp cheekbones, strong jaw, straight nose, and his eyes were the strangest color she'd ever seen, a warm amber that seemed almost to glow in the dim tavern light. Actually, the barman said, brightening, you could ask Xander here. He fits the bill pretty well. The man, Xander, glanced their way at the sound of his name, and for a moment Elara could have sworn time slowed. Then he began walking toward the bar, toward her, with a determined stride, and Elara straightened, smoothing her travel-worn clothes. She found herself wondering what his voice would sound like. The usual Gareth, Xander said, walking right past Elara as if she were invisible. His voice was low and rough, as though he didn't use it often. Just one? The barman asked, retrieving a bottle from beneath the counter while Elara stood there, jaw slightly slack. Xander snorted. I'll be back. He dropped coins on the bar, took the bottle, and turned to leave. You should probably ask him now while he's sober enough to understand you, the barman, Gareth, suggested, nodding toward Xander retreating back. Well, worth a try, Tomas said, sliding off his stool and hurrying after the man. Excuse me, kind sir. Elara closed her eyes in mortification. This had been a terrible idea. Xander paused at the door, looking down at Tomas with a raised eyebrow. If he was surprised to see a 12-year-old in a mercenary bar, he showed no sign of it. What do you want, kid? He asked, one hand already on the door. For you to take us across the borders to the dragon territory, Tomas replied, gesturing toward Elara. Xander snorted. And who's we, you and your mother? Sister. Elara growled, sliding into the space beside her brother. Xander's eyes finally shifted to her, a proper assessment that made her feel like she was being weighed and found wanting. You two want to go into dragon territory? He asked, incredulous. It is of the utmost importance that we do, Elara declared, meeting his gaze steadily. Xander's lips quirked. Right, Of the utmost importance. Which is why you brought the prepubescent adolescent with you, is it? Because it's so vital? Elara bristled. He is the prince of this kingdom. You will address him with respect. Xander sighed, uncorking his bottle. He gave Tomas an exaggerated bow. My apologies, Your Highness. Thank you, Elara said primly. He fixed her with a withering look. Still not helping you. We can pay, Elara insisted, frustration mounting heavily. You wouldn't last a day out there, sweetheart. He shrugged, indifferent. And I'm not in the business of condemning royalty to death. Bad for my reputation. Elara pouted. I will have you know both my brother and I have been well trained to survive dragons, and we're not asking for your opinion, just whether you'll take us across or not. Please, Tomas interrupted, his eyes wide and earnest. It's very important to us, to Elara even more so. Xander looked between them, taking another long swig. Why do you even want to go there anyway? For love, Elara answered without thinking. I'm going after the man I'm going to marry. Your fiancé, Xander blinked. Your fiancé went into dragon territory voluntarily? Something like that, Elara replied. Xander threw back his head and laughed. Oh, this is priceless. The princess is on a quest for true love in dragon territory. What's next? Will there be singing woodland creatures to accompany us? Elara's face burned. Mock me all you want, but this is serious. Oh, I'm sure it is, Xander said, amusement still dancing in his eyes. Look, princess, I'm sorry your betrothed had poor judgment, but charging into dragon territory for a rescue mission is suicide. You don't know that, Elara insisted. I know dragons, Xander replied, his tone suddenly serious, all humor gone. And I know what they do to trespassers. The conviction in his voice nearly made Elara falter. What if he was right? What if Darius was already? No, she couldn't think that way. We're still going, she said firmly, with or without you. Xander studied them for a long moment. Look, I'm sorry, but I can't help you. He turned to leave. In desperation, Elara reached out, her hand closing around his forearm. Wait! The moment her fingers touched him, she froze. His skin was unnaturally warm, radiating heat like a banked fire. The warmth seemed to flow from him into her, chasing away the persistent chill that had plagued her for days. Xander pulled away sharply, frowning. I can't help you. Sorry for your fiancé, lady, but it's not. I'm the princess of this kingdom, Elara blurted, playing her final card. If you help us, whatever you desire from my father's, the king's treasure vault is yours. Xander's protest died on his lips. Anything. The word seemed dragged from him against his will. Elara saw his hesitation and pressed her advantage, reaching for the chain around her neck. She pulled out a large ruby ring, her grandmother's, which she had brought as an emergency bargaining chip. Yes, she smiled. Anything you want. She dangled the ruby before him. Xander's eyes fixed on the gem, following its movement with an intensity that seemed almost predatory. His pupils dilated slightly, and the amber of his irises seemed to brighten. He was utterly transfixed. I don't, he began, but his hand moved of its own accord, snatching the ring from her grasp. His fingers closed around it possessively, and he held it close, examining its facets. He seemed to catch himself then, straightening and clearing his throat. Fine, he snapped, tucking the ruby into an inner pocket with a quick, almost furtive movement. When do you want to go? Tomorrow morning, Elara said before he could change his mind. We'll need supplies, Xander nodded curtly. Meet me here at dawn. Bring only what you can carry and more payment. His eyes glinted. More shiny things. Like a magpie, Tomas whispered, not quite quietly enough. Xander's head snapped toward the boy. What was that? He asked, pretending he hadn't heard. Nothing, Elara interjected. We'll be here at dawn. Xander narrowed his eyes, then shrugged. Well, at least I'll be paid well for delivering you to your deaths. He inclined his head in a mockery of a courtly bow. Until tomorrow, your highnesses. As he turned to leave, Elara suddenly stepped forward. Wait, Xander paused, looking back with an impatient expression. Could we meet earlier? She asked, lowering her voice. 2 hours before dawn, perhaps? He raised an eyebrow. Why? Elara glanced at Tomas, who was distracted by a bar fight breaking out in the corner. I'd prefer to leave before my brother wakes, she said quietly. He'll be safer here. Xander studied her for a moment, then gave a curt nod. Eastern edge of town, 2 hours before dawn. He held out his hand for the inconvenience. Elara hesitated, then pulled a small gold bracelet set with emeralds from her pouch. His eyes fixed on it with that same strange intensity before he pocketed it and walked out without another word. "What was that about?" Tomas asked, returning his attention to Elara. "Nothing," she said, "just confirming details. Come on, let's find somewhere to sleep." As they left the tavern in search of lodging, Elara's thoughts were already racing with plans to slip away before her brother could follow. What she didn't notice was the thoughtful look in Tomas's eyes as he watched her from behind. Epilogue: weeks after the palace attack that shattered everything she thought she knew, Princess Robin stood at the edge of the known world, staring into the mist-shrouded mountains where dragons were said to rule. The journey had only just begun, yet she already carried more questions than answers, and a growing secret that burned hotter than any fire. The wind carried the faint scent of smoke and wild pine as Robin tightened her cloak against the ever-present chill. Beside her, young Tommen fidgeted with the straps of his makeshift dragon-hunting satchel. His eyes wide with a mixture of fear and excitement that only a 12-year-old could manage. They had left the shadowed Fang behind days ago, guided by the mysterious Xander, whose amber eyes seemed to see far more than he admitted. The warmth from his brief touch that night at the inn still lingered on Robin's skin like an echo, the only thing that could truly chase away the bone-deep cold that had plagued her since the attack. But the closer they drew to dragon territory, the more everything felt wrong. Robin glanced down at the sun crown, now carefully wrapped and hidden in her pack. It no longer glowed as brightly as it had during the escape, yet every time her thoughts turned to Cyrus or to Xander's rough voice and burning skin, a faint amber light pulsed from within the black obsidian. It was changing her. She could feel it in her dreams, soaring over jagged peaks with wings of midnight blue, the taste of storm winds on her tongue, and eyes that flashed gold instead of their usual soft brown. Am I losing myself? She wondered, a wry smile tugging at her lips despite the fear. Or am I finally waking up? Tommen nudged her arm, breaking her thoughts. Do you think Cyrus is waiting for us? Or do you think he's the one who sent the storm dragon that attacked the palace? Robin didn't have an answer. The memory of Cyrus's final whisper, "I'm sorry, I never meant for it to go this far," replayed in her mind like a haunting melody. Had he been protecting her or using her? Ahead of them, Xander rode in silence, his broad shoulders tense. He had agreed to guide them not for gold or jewels, but for a single royal favor, one he had yet to name. Every time Robin caught his gaze, that strange heat flared between them again, pulling at something deep inside her she didn't understand. As the sun dipped low, painting the mountains in shades of blood and gold, Xander reined in his horse and turned to face them both. "We crossed the ward line at dawn," he said, voice low and rough. "Beyond that point, nothing is what it seems. Dragons aren't the mindless beasts your kingdom taught you to fear, and some of them wear human faces better than any spy." Robin's heart hammered. "Including you?" Xander's amber eyes met hers, a flicker of something ancient and hungry passing through them. For the first time, he didn't pull away when the air between them grew warm. "Especially me," he murmured. Tommen's eyes went wide. "Wait, you're one of them?" The wind howled through the pass as Robin felt the sun crown pulse warmly against her side, reacting not to fear, but to the undeniable pull she felt toward the man who might be leading them straight into danger or straight home. As night fell and the first distant roar echoed from the dragon peaks, Robin realized the terrifying truth. The monster she had been raised to hate might not be the real threat. The real danger was how easily she was beginning to trust and crave the touch of the dragon walking right beside her. And somewhere out there in the shadows, Cyrus was waiting, with secrets that could either save them all or burn the kingdom to ash. If you're hooked on Robin's dangerous journey into dragon territory and can't wait to find out what happens when she discovers Xander's true secret, hit that like button, drop a comment with your favorite moment, and subscribe for the next chapter. Which one are you teaming up with, the golden-haired fiancé who turned monster, or the warm, mysterious guide who might be even more dangerous? Tell me below. Next episode drops soon, don't miss it.